story of how I bought this Foxbody sight unseen off of eBay. I wanted to talk about how the Foxbody came to be and why I bought it and how I ended up getting it. So I bought this car in May of 2019, so I've had it a little over a year, and unfortunately it's kind of just been sitting, as you can see. Right now it's just sitting here in the garage. We haven't really had a chance to work on it much, but so I had always wanted a Foxbody ever since I saw the movie 30 Minutes or Less, and the Foxbody featured in that movie is actually like super run down and everything, but something about the way they look, I just love them. After we sold our Viper, which we sold that in February of 2019 in order to buy the land, once we sold that, I was kind of just itching for another car, and I started looking at Marketplace, Craigslist, eBay for Foxbodies, and there was a few criteria that I wanted to meet for one, and the main thing was it had to be Calypso green. So as I'm sure you can tell right now and all the time, my favorite color is turquoise, so if a car comes from the factory in turquoise, that's super, super awesome to me, so I had to have Calypso, and I know it's a little bit on the rare side for the colors, so I just wanted to hold out for a factory Calypso car. And the other thing was I wanted a hatchback and not a notchback, and I like both, but I just think the hatchbacks look sportier, and so I want it to be hatchback, I want it to be Calypso, and I want it to be obviously a 5.0 and manual. So those are the things that I had to have. And one day I was just browsing eBay casually and really had no intention of actually purchasing. Wasn't really in the position to just purchase one right now, but I was looking anyway because that's what we do. And this car was on eBay up in Michigan, and the price was probably the lowest I'd seen for a running and driving Calypso Foxbody. So thought about it. I sent a message to my husband. I'm like, look at this. He was surprised at the low price, and we knew it had some work, and we knew that it wasn't going to be perfect and ready to go right out of the gate if we bought it, but that was okay, and it was always going to be a project anyway. So I started thinking about buying it. So prior to finding this one on eBay, there was actually one down near Houston that was reef blue, and it was in better shape than this one actually. It was in good shape, about the same price within our budget. And I had almost made plans to go down and see it that weekend, but I just kind of told myself, like, it's not Calypso, it's reef blue, which is a cool color too, but like I really don't want to compromise on that, so I'm just gonna pass. And I did actually had asked him to come down the price a little, and he wouldn't, so I'm like, I'll just pass on that one. But then I reached out to the owner of this one through the eBay listing and kind of explained that I was in Texas, and I asked him a bunch of different questions, and my husband wanted to check to see if the frame was okay, so we were just kind of feeling it out and learning more about the car. So one thing I did was I was going to ask someone I know up in Michigan to go look at it for me on my behalf, and this was after running through my mind of like, what if I just fly there? Is it drivable? Like, could it make it all the way back to Texas? That's far-fetched, but that's one of the thoughts I had. Let me just go fly up there, let me do a one-way ticket, or go back there and come back and then have it delivered, and all these things were running through my mind. Like, I really, really wanted it. It looked great, and it was finally my chance to own a Calypso green Foxbody that I'd wanted for, gosh, I think 4 years prior. So, any way I could get up there and get it or look at it, I just really wanted to. But ultimately, after some back and forth, I realized obviously that was crazy to try to actually get up to Michigan and look at the car or even drive it back. That was insane. So I still wanted it though. So I had the owner send me videos of it starting and running, and he did that with no problem. So he sent me some videos, some exhaust clips. He sent me more pictures of the inside and the outside. He actually got under the car and showed me kind of underneath, so we could check to see if the rust was super bad underneath, and It was just like virtually touring it basically from across the country. And it is from Michigan, so it's got some moderate. To me, it's a lot because I've never had a car with rust ever, being a Texas girl and just always having Texas cars. But it is from Michigan, so there's some pretty bad, to me, rust issues. It's got some down here, and we'll take a look around and I can show you all of the rust and stuff. But otherwise, it wasn't too bad. It wasn't so far gone that we didn't want to buy it. One crazy thing that came with buying this car sight unseen off of eBay is we actually went for a virtual test drive. So I was FaceTiming with the owner, and he put his phone in the passenger seat, and he started it, drove it, kind of got on it a little, did a little pull in it down his street, and that was just hilarious to me because like just doing a virtual test drive basically, and being in the passenger seat from his phone while he drove around to show me that, like, live on the phone, that it ran, it was fine. Because we had been going back and forth for like a week, and I'm sure he was getting frustrated at all my questions, but I was super nervous. And then it came time to figure out, okay, well, I want it, we're gonna do it, so how am I gonna pay for it, and how's that gonna work? So he said no to PayPal because of chargebacks, and he was a pretty highly rated seller on eBay, so he had some experience with that. And apparently he had people charge back stuff, like big pieces of like farm equipment or whatever, after they paid for it. So he didn't want to use PayPal, which I like using PayPal because it's got that like second layer of protection, but he didn't want to use it, so it was understandable. What I ended up doing was overnighting him a cashier's check with the expectation that he would then overnight me the title. And then after he had the cashier's check, I had the title, we would then arrange a transport company to go and get it and bring it to me. And gosh, that was nerve-wracking. I thought on that for 2 days before I decided to even do that, because I just didn't want to get scammed or anything. So, but obviously I ended up going through with it. I went to the bank, got the cashier's check, put it in an overnight envelope, and sent it to him. And then later in the day after he received it, he sent me a text, and he sent a picture of the title and overnighted the title to me, and I got it. And then I contacted some transport companies and found one that had a route going by where he lived up in Michigan. That could be a whole nother video of talking about trying to find a transport company. That was wild. So this was the first car I've ever like transported across the country like this and bought not locally. So I typed in my name and number and email address into like a database trying to find a transport company, and that was a huge mistake because literally for like a month after purchasing this car and getting it delivered and everything, I was getting messages from transport companies saying, we have a spot open on our truck. And I'm like, oh my God. But I ended up finding one that the service was great. I can't remember their name now, but it was one of them, and everything was fine. So he sent me a picture when the truck arrived. He sent me a picture of it being loaded up, and then a couple days later, it was on Memorial Day actually in 2019. It came down the road, and I was just happy as a clam, super excited. Everything worked out, even though I was worried about a scam or something happening with the transaction, but everything was great, and it was delivered. So the basics with this car, it's a 1992 5.0. It's got the stock engine, but it's not stock fully. It's cammed. I think I have a list of stuff that's done to it. It's got the E303 cam, so it's like the little mild cam. Upgraded alternator. It's got injectors, water pump, built distributor. It's got a full exhaust, so it's got fulling headers and H-pipe, and then full master catback. So it sounds actually, surprisingly, it sounds really good, even with the little cam. It's got, you probably saw it in the first shot, but it's got drag radials in the back, which not needed, but that's okay. It's got some suspension stuff already done to it. It's got 373s in the back. New radiator, just kind of maintenance-y stuff like that, like fans, and it's got the chrome pony 5 stars on it. So once we got the tune squared away and got the lifter issue fixed, thanks to PRT Performance up in Louisville, it was back to operable and running and driving. And the one issue, though, goodness gracious, with driving this car is the clutch is insanely stiff. And like, it wasn't just me. I thought, like, oh, maybe it's just me and it's actually not that bad. But like, everybody says it, like, it's horrible. And it's not. It's completely overkill for the power this car makes, because it's like 200 horsepower or something, super slow. But yeah, so that's gonna have to go. And originally I didn't have any plans to like do anything crazy with this. I just wanted to get it aesthetically like back super nice. So get the rust fix and probably do a full respray and all that stuff. But I guess I've broken down and decided we should probably just do an LS swap. And so my husband and I are both way more familiar with that platform. And like, even just me reading the list of stuff that's done to this car and like what the cam is called, that's because I have no idea about like Ford engines. I've never had one. So so that's ultimately the plan now, is we're going to put some sort of LS-based engine in this. And I still want it to be manual though, so we're going to keep a manual in it. And I didn't want to have to do a full respray because that kind of defeats the purpose of seeking out a Calypso green car. But we're going to probably have to, because in order to fix all the rust, it's going to have to, like, you know, go down to the metal and everything. So let's take a look around the car. Okay, so prior to the last owner owning it, it was actually in a collision with a deer. And there's some evidence of that, like this headlight not lining up and having moisture in it and stuff. And then the owner before me actually had the hood fly up on it, and it cracked this little thing up here, so we just had to rip it off. We'll replace it eventually. But, so, like, that's bad. Down here is some rust. And then there's some spots over here by the gas tank. Some more right there. That's pretty much it on the rust. It's not horrible. So as you can see, it's a hatchback. And another selling point for me on this was the interior is actually really nice shape overall. It's got a couple little weird things, but like the driver seat bolster over there is ripped, but that's like, there's not very many that aren't, which is fine. We actually replaced the middle of the steering wheel, which proved to be a task because the horn kept, like, something with the wiring, the horn kept just constantly blaring when we tried to do this. But so the airbag had been popped in that accident that I mentioned, so it was kind of just flapping. But I wanted the stock look and the stock steering wheel, so I just ordered a factory replacement for that middle part. So 5-speed manual. There's no AC anymore. They took out the whole AC system because Michigan. And I probably won't put it back in. It doesn't really bother me not having it. We'll see, though. I might. So, the radio doesn't work either. I'm not sure why. But it's got the stock head unit in it. Back seat super fresh. So, interior's overall pretty nice. So, since that hood flew up, there's no hood prop or, like, anything. You just have to put a 2x4 under here or hold it. But, so you can see under here, not too bad. There's some mild mods done. So I'm really eager to get started on this. Prior to the lifter issue and figuring that out and getting the tune squared away and all that, I did have a lot of fun driving this around town despite the clutch and everything. It's got all the 90s car things I love. It's the best color ever, obviously. It's a lot of fun, and it's going to be even more fun when it's all fixed up and nice. So it's just sitting right now because pretty shortly after we bought this, we got wrapped up in the house stuff. We moved from Red Oak to Rockwall County. We started the process of finding a builder and figuring out what house we wanted and how we were going to do it and everything. So that took up so much of our time that, for one, we didn't have the time to mess with this, and Secondly, we don't have the space to mess with it until we get the shop, which literally might be in the next 2 weeks. So it's just been sitting, like you can see the tires are flat, the battery's shot, I'm sure. It hasn't been started in forever. We've just been super busy with the house stuff. But I'm so glad I bought it last year. I'm glad I got my hands on one of these, and I'm super excited for the potential this car has, and I bet I will drive it every single day once it's done. So that is the current state of Foxbody. Be sure to subscribe and stay tuned for all the cool stuff we plan on doing with this car and all of our other cars and everything else. So thanks for watching, and see you next time.